Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before, please subscribe and turn on a notification bell along with the thumbs ups and drop your comments, especially today. Today we finally got some big news. I actually haven't posted a video in about a week. Took the All-Star break off myself. Well, actually I was waiting for something exactly like this to happen. I was either waiting for Tom Thibodeau to be let go. Yep, I actually was waiting for that. But once I saw that he survived Monday through the end of day, I knew we were stuck with him for the remainder of this season, most likely. Though there is some conjecture that he might, who knows, he might not survive the next 4 games. But I think he's with us for the rest of the season. And today's news actually bears that in mind. As you can see right here, Woj reported today, ESPN sources, the New York Knicks and guard Kemba Walker have agreed that the 4-time All-Star will be sidelined for the remainder of the season. Okay, well, finally, something that makes some sense. We actually have not had any real news coming out of the Knicks that made any sense whatsoever in terms of what's best for the club, the future, and the present. Finally, we got some. And in a statement released by the team, President Leon Rose, which we still haven't heard from directly until just now, he put out a press release. We fully support Kemba's decision to shut it down for the remainder of the season and use this time to prepare for next season. His long-term success on the court remains our priority. That's nice. That's nice. And I actually hope the best for Kemba. Maybe actually finally resting his knees right now, getting some serious treatment could actually revive his career. I was about to say save his career, but I'll show you some stats. I mean, it's not pretty. These were his 2021-22 stats. He averaged about 25.5 minutes per game, 11.6 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists on 40.3% field goal shooting. His three-point shooting was at 36.7%. His plus-minus total was a minus 4.9. Now, as you can see, the minutes, the points, the rebounds, and assists were all career lows this season. Now, in the last 15 games, things got even more dire. That's right. He averaged even 3 minutes less per game, but he averaged 3.5 points less per game. Only 8.1 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3.4 assists. His field goal shooting it fell off the table completely. It was 37.1%, but look at the 3-point shooting, 27.3%, and a plus minus of a minus 5.6 in the last 15 games. It got to the point where having him on the court was conceding wins, and we saw that happen. The Knicks have lost 13 out of the last 16 games. And, I went into it in detail. I put out a lot of videos before the All-Star break calling for some major changes to be made. And then we heard Thibodeau in that bizarre post-game interview where he said everything's on the table, but then he said it's merit-based. He said a bunch of different things. I don't know. He said our focus is our youth. Meanwhile, he buries them on the bench, doesn't give them any minutes. So in a lot of ways, it just really annoyed me. I really felt like he was just trying to say whatever he could to save his job, but at the same time still establish his control. It was nothing about what's really good for the team and good for the future of the franchise and good for the fans. We want a championship team in New York wearing orange and blue. That's what we want. We don't want to wait another 20 years, 50 years. We don't want to wait another 20 years before we even get to the finals. No, we want this to happen within the next 3 to 5 years. And doing something like this is going to help. But doing the things that he was saying was not. But look at him. Look at the on-court differential. He was a minus 9.5 for the entire season. That's right. Offensively, per 100 points, per 100 possessions, we were only scoring 106.8 points per game and getting outscored 116.2 points per game with him on the court. So why was Deuce sent down to Westchester for that last game against the Nets? Why wasn't he available? These are questions that I have that makes me doubt seriously the leadership of this franchise at the moment. However, today, finally, it's a good day. We got some news that maybe we can finally do some things with. And now let's move on and see what will happen when Derrick Rose returns. Will he be the starter? Thing is, we don't know. Thibs is such a stubborn coach that he may just decide, I like him with the second unit, and we'll address it. Who knows what that means? But right now, I'm going to assume that one of the main reasons for this agreement, the quote agreement, to sit out the rest of the season, that Kemba and the Knicks came to an agreement on this, is because the reality is that Derrick Rose is coming back from the ankle surgery and the rehab. He's supposed to come back as early as Friday, the first game after the All-Star break against Miami. Well, that was the original rumor, but then we heard he actually hadn't had any on-court contact yet, so we will wait and see. There's a potential that it may take another week, another 2 weeks. Who knows? Because, he's 33 years old. He's rehabbing an ankle. This could take a while. So we'll look at some of the other options. But here you can see what Rose has been doing the past 2 seasons. Man, they've been nice. They've been nice. Look at that. He's at 5.8 last season, plus minus a plus 3.5 with the Knicks. He's averaging this season 12 points per game on 24.5 minutes per game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 44.5% field goal percentage, a 40.2 3-point percentage, which is down a little bit from last season's incredible 41.1%, but still 40.2. That's excellent. That's what we needed. And his on-court differential is a plus 7.4 for an 86th percentile in the upper realm of that. His offense, when he's on the court, whenever he's on the court with whoever, the offense clicks at 111.8 points per 100 possessions, which is a 53. Not so exciting, but the defense, look at that, 104.4 to a 92, which is interesting because people always say, oh, D Rose is not a good defender. Well, stats don't lie. They're right there. There we go. I think that there are pluses and minuses with Rose returning and starting. The plus is the team is going to play better. That's just a fact. They're going to play better. And it's going to be better for RJ when he returns. Fournier's going to benefit. Randall's going to benefit. Everyone's going to benefit. So that's a positive. However, do we see Derrick Rose as the starting point guard for next season on this team? He wasn't even made the starting point guard this year. They could have decided that. So how does this answer questions that we need to ask? And the question that we need to ask right now is, who is going to be the point guard for next season, the starting point guard for next season on this team? Maybe he is already on the roster and he hasn't been given enough of an opportunity to earn that spot. Well, let's see. Who replaces Kemba if D Rose is not the starter? Now look here, Burks. He's not a point guard, but again, he got chosen to start over D Rose when Thibodeau took Kemba out of the rotation the very first time. So Burks' on-court differential is a plus 1.4 overall. Now that includes when he doesn't start as well, so when he's on the bench. So these stats kind of intermingle because other guys, they affect. It impacts who's on the court with them. So they are impacted by who's on the court with them. But the offense, look at that. It suffers. It's 111.3 points per game for a 48th percentile. And we saw it. We've seen it. We know it sags. He doesn't make quick decisions offensively. When he hasn't been finishing at the rim very well at all. I think he's down in the 35 percentile, 35% finishing at the rim, which is tragic, or maybe somewhere around there, maybe 37%. Either way, the defense, of course, he does provide defense, solid defense for a 62 percentile, 109.9. Nothing exciting there. Nothing that should get anybody into the idea of returning Burks to the starting lineup as the point guard on this team. But with Tom Thibodeau as our coach, we'll never know. We don't know what could happen. Either way, so here, Miles McBride. Very few, obviously not that many possessions to even look at, but, this is according to Cleaning the Glass. On-court differential, plus 16.3, 99 percentile. Offense, 124.8 points per game when he's on the court, and only allowing 108.5 points per 100 possessions. This is what this is for 73% though. So obviously Miles, his very minimal early stats are promising, and then what he's been doing down in Westchester is fantastic. I mean, he has been just wonderful. Now, will that translate to the pro game? Well, guess what? There's only one way to find out. You play the guy. You give him meaningful minutes. That's right. Okay, the next guy is Immanuel Quickley, someone that I have been for a year now asking to be turned into, or at least given the opportunity to be the point guard, the starting point guard on this team. Now, the discussion's out there. I think right at this point, most people believe that he's not a point guard, which is fine. He's a combo guard. He's a shooting guard. But it's hard to deny the impact that he has on the other players when he's on the court, which is one of the criteria that Tom Thibodeau spelled out in that his merit-based Bizarro post-game, which basically he was saying is it's based upon how well they play, quote, their own stats, and how well the team plays, meaning the other players on the court with him. Well, Quickley satisfies on that aspect because his shooting this season hasn't been there. That's for sure. Though he did have a nice 7 of 10 explosion in that last game against the Nets. But here we go. This is him on the court. Differential. Whenever he's on the court, the team is a +7 for an 84 percentile. A +7, 84 percentile. Offense scoring 113.3 points per game. Already, it's a nice tick up, 67 percentile. The defense, 106.3 for an 86 percentile. Okay, in my opinion, if you were to choose between these three as your starting point guard moving forward for the rest of the season, if Derrick Rose can't do the job in terms of whatever reasons he might have, he hasn't been cleared yet. So I'm assuming this is if he hasn't been cleared. And even if he comes back, he could still be the second. He could be the point guard off the bench, the second unit. But someone still has to. Either way, someone has to take that point guard role. So let's assume it's not Derrick Rose in this scenario. In my opinion, it's either between Deuce or Quickley. That's it. No more discussion. Just choose between one of these two or try them both out. We have 23 games left in the season. Why not just experiment and find out who is the guy who works best with RJ and Randall? Here we go. I mean, in my opinion, I think Quickley should be given the opportunity first. I believe that his shooting woes, unfortunately, his shooting woes are a problem. But with guys like RJ and Randall who handle the ball a lot, who can initiate the offense, the burden of running the offense wouldn't be solely on his shoulders the way it is with the second unit. When Quickley's running the point with the second unit and Rose is out and Deuce is not on the court with him, which is most of the time, Burks sometimes is on the court with him, but Quickley's the one running the point, and it's a lot on his shoulders. He struggles with the balance of trying to find his shot, a good shot for himself, and feeding the others, but he still manages. He does a nice job with assists. He does a nice job to break down the defense. Does he get all the way to the hoop and complete right now? Not so well, but you can't deny that the other guys have more room to work with on the floor when Quickley is on the floor, and that makes them better. And let's show you. The best guard with Julius and RJ. Here we go. I didn't put Deuce in because Deuce didn't play hardly. I think he played 4 possessions with these two guys, so I couldn't put his numbers in there in any real meaningful way. So here's Rose. The differential. He's a plus 5.8, 80 percentile. So we know he's works fantastically with them. We saw him close a lot last season with those two guys on the court. So he's the obvious choice. Burks, and if you have to choose between Burks and Quickley, there really is no choice. You have to go with Immanuel Quickley. So there you go. Let's see what it will be that Tom Thibodeau will choose now that Kemba has basically retired for the rest of this season. Will Tom Thibodeau choose to start Immanuel Quickley, or will Tom Thibodeau revert back to his usual self and go with Burks when it doesn't work. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I am actually beginning to become a little more excited now for the remainder of the season, now that this news is out. I was pretty kind of bummed and annoyed that nothing had really been presented to us that was going to really be anything meaningful in terms of the direction that we're going to go in. Hopefully, somehow this also dislodges some minutes for Cam consistently. Because, if Quickley has got to slot in, and let's say they do keep Deuce down in Westchester, maybe Cam gets those minutes. But in those first, let's say they give Quickley about 2 weeks, 2 weeks to earn this role. If he doesn't get it, doesn't hold on to it, then you bring Deuce back up, and then you reconfigure the alignment of the lineups. But you still got to give time for Cam to play. For all we know, we're going to get another news report like this about Alec Burks sitting out the rest of the season. Let's see. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching this. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for some more good news. And I really do wish the best for Kemba. I hope that this period of time, this rest and rehab, can really help revive his knees for next season. Because it would be, I always love watching him play. I want to watch an effective, deadly, a potent, offensively potent Kemba. That's what I like to watch. So he's not such a burden on the defensive end, which he's been for us this season, especially when he can't shoot. So I think this is a good announcement. I think it's a good announcement. All right, again, well, thank you so much for watching this. My name is George, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the thumbs up button for me and drop your comments. I want to hear what you guys feel about this news. All right, thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.